Hello everyone, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with my James Bond review series reviewing From Russia with Love. In the second installment of the James Bond series, this time battling a secret crime organization known as Spectre. Russians Rosa Klebb and Kronstein are out to snatch a decoding device known as the Lecter, using the ravishing Tatiana to lure Bond into helping them. Bond willingly travels to meet Tatiana, where he must rely on his wits to escape with his life in a series of deadly encounters with the enemy. So before I give my thoughts on this movie, let me know down below what you guys think of From Russia with Love. And I do want to say that this review is going to be completely spoiler free, so anybody is free to watch this review. And also one more thing, it's been a while since I've talked about James Bond because I reviewed Dr. No a while back and then I kind of disappeared with my James Bond review series, and I just want to say that it's because when I posted Dr. No, I had an entire content calendar lined up and it basically said that I would be done with my James Bond review by April, and clearly that didn't happen because No Time to Die was moved yet again to November. So I took a little bit of a break and kind of planned out and stretched out the Bond reviews so that I could still end the review series right before November. So yeah, I'm really excited because I have my content calendar lined up and all the reviews planned, and you should be getting these almost every week. There are some weeks where there's like a little bit of a break because I have other uploads scheduled for that day. I'm very excited to just announce that this review series is back, and I'm very excited because when you hear what I have to say about this movie, you know that I'm very excited to continue watching the James Bond movies. A little bit of a long intro, but let's get back to the review. So I totally loved this one way more than the last one, and in Dr. No, I thought it was an okay movie. I think it was a good introduction to the character, but I definitely expected more. But after watching this one, I definitely have to say that Sean Connery is amazing as Bond, and he really played this character the best that he could, and it was so much fun watching him in this movie and just seeing this movie overall. And everything that I liked about Dr. No was here, but it was better and more developed, and I think it's really important when a director realizes what the last movie did well and just built upon that and notice that, because I definitely think there's a huge improvement in this one, in the quality, in some dialogue, in action. Like, there's so much good here that originally wasn't Dr. No, but here it's just more spread out and more throughout the movie, where in this one there's way less negatives. Like, honestly, there's barely any negatives in this movie. I have to give it to Terence Young for directing this movie, and I actually have a little bit of a fun fact that when I found this out, I was so shocked because basically, originally when this movie was gonna happen, Alfred Hitchcock was actually interested in directing From Russia with Love. After the success of Dr. No, he was really invested in the franchise, but eventually, obviously, Terence Young, the director of Dr. No, returned for the sequel. It was basically just automatically given to Terence Young once he was interested in doing the sequel because he had already worked with the material. So it's almost as if the job wasn't even available, just waiting for Terence Young to say, yeah, I'm gonna do this. But I think it's so interesting that Hitchcock was interested in directing this movie, because when I read that, I keep imagining what a Hitchcock James Bond movie would look like. But I do think that Terence Young did a fantastic job in this movie. The direction here is awesome. There are so many pretty shots. It's just a pretty composed movie. Like, everything feels put together really nicely and that it was very meticulously planned, and I love the action sequences here, especially the train sequences. I just love how those scenes were directed, and there's a lot of train sequences here, and I loved all the scenes that we got from inside the train, outside the train. It just all worked really well together to form really awesome fight scenes. And what I love about the fight scenes in here is that I can actually tell what's going on, even though it's still a little bit fast-paced and here and there. And I also love the use of camera to show power. There are many villains in this movie, and sometimes it could feel like there's a little bit too many villains. I love the use of like camera to show power, like over the head shots, like higher shots and lower shots. I really love when directors use that, and this and here it was used effectively. And I love the vibe that this movie has, and I feel like Terence Young did a really good job here in establishing the James Bond vibe, if that makes any sense. Like, it's a near perfect spy espionage film, and that's why I love James Bond, and this one definitely solidified that. And something that I think is is really important when we have such a big character like Bond in there the entire time is to have a memorable antagonist, because a great lead character has a great antagonist, and in this one the villains delivered, because we started learning about Spectre and you really get to see how evil these people are. I really enjoyed that, and I have to give it to Lotte Lenya for playing Rosa Klebb, because she was so scary in this movie, and also Robert Shaw for playing Red Grant. He was literally terrifying, and he did such a good job of having that menacing straight face where he just doesn't move at all, but he's literally gonna kick your ass, and he does. From the opening scene you get to really sense that these people are evil, and you kind of start to fear for Bond, because there's a lot of situations that Spectre and the villains had an advantage, and I think when a movie does that, it's really good because it gives you tension, and I think as an audience member watching that, it makes it that much more enjoyable. And there are literally enemies lurking around in every single corner, and like I mentioned before, I do think sometimes there's a little bit of too many villains. Sometimes it felt a bit overwhelming where I'm like, holy crap, wait, that person's also not to be trusted. I don't honestly think it took away anything from the movie, but it felt a little overwhelming, and honestly, like I said, scary. And there's also elements of the Cold War brought into here, which I also thought were pretty interesting. The reason this movie stands out so much, in my opinion, is because you can tell that this movie works as a standalone film, but it's also developing things for the future of the Bond franchise, and I think that's really important. And I think with this one, From Russia with Love, you can tell where they're gonna head in other movies, and it makes me excited to watch the other ones to come. I also really like the setting and location of the movie, and I feel like we really got to understand where Bond was at most of the time. I think it really showed us literally as much as it could from the city that we were in, and I think that's really important because it really makes us feel like we're there with Bond and we're not outsiders to the story, and I think by doing that, it was really awesome. I will say, however, there were a couple of scenes, and I'm not gonna give anything away because this review is not gonna have spoilers, but it's like in a camp, and some things happen in that scene that I just honestly think were kind of pointless. So yeah, that was a pretty pointless scene, the one that I'm talking about, but for the most part, all the scenes I think worked well with each other and worked for a bigger picture. So there's another really big character in this movie, and that's Tatiana, which is the girl that Bond is with the entire time. And I feel like sometimes she's a bit passive in the movie, and I think honestly they could have tried a little bit more to incorporate her to the story, because she's obviously the Bond girl, so she's gonna be there for most of the time, and I think she worked as a Bond girl. I liked her, but I honestly think that for the most part it was like she was just being like dragged everywhere. It was just like sometimes they just couldn't even think of a way to drag her back into the storyline, and it felt like she was just this one character that they were like, okay, no, we have to fit her in here because she's a Bond girl. And I think they could have tried to incorporate her a little bit more, which I honestly think was a shame to the actress, because I think the actress did a really good job in her performance, but I feel like for a lot of it, it kind of just felt like they were trying to see a way to fit her in there. And when she was in the scenes, she was just there to kind of be pretty sometimes, where I feel like she could have honestly done a lot more with it. So that's a criticism that I have with that character, because I think the potential was there, because early on in the movie we get certain dialogues between her and another character that I thought was really interesting, and they kind of really didn't develop that more, which I wish they would have. And the music in this movie is so awesome, and not just the score, but also the soundtrack. Like at the very end, I love the way the movie ends. It's so stylish. The song From Russia with Love playing in the back is so nice, and I love how in the end credit scenes it says that there is more to come. And yup, it's been like a really long time and they're still dragging out Bond movies, so I think it's funny that in that movie it said there's gonna be more to come, and here we are in 2021 and we're still waiting for another Bond movie. So I think that's just honestly awesome. But I really love this movie so much, and From Russia with Love has one of my favorite fight scenes in the Bond franchise so far. I really love this movie. It's stylish, it's fun, it knows what it's doing, and I'm going to give From Russia with Love an A. I'm so happy to finally have been able to talk to you guys about From Russia with Love, and like I said, please let me know if you've seen this movie, what you think about it, and if you like it more than Dr. No, because I really liked this movie and I cannot wait to check out Goldfinger next. That review will be coming very soon. I'm really happy to be doing this review series and then I'm back posting these. So yeah, I'm very excited for the rest of the franchise. Thank you guys so much for watching today's review. It really meant a lot to me that you stayed all the way until the end. And if you did enjoy this review, then please make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for weekly movie videos. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's review. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have an awesome day and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!